I'd like to call to order the Milan Area Schools Board of Education regular meeting for Wednesday, September 27th, 2023. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you for everyone attending in person this evening and then watching the recording online. Just a few housekeeping items. All board members are present except for Mr. Farrow. He is excused, and also our 2 student board reps are excused as well. This evening, we would like to start with a special recognition of our transportation department. So I need a motion to thank the staff of the Milan Area Schools Transportation Department as recorded in an attachment I will read soon.
So moved by Frey.
Support by Murray.
So moved and supported to thank the staff of the Milan Area Schools Transportation Department as recorded in attachment A. So all you folks, if you could all come stand up here in front of us and face the audience. There might not be much of an audience when afterwards, but that's not a problem. Not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. All right, let me read this for you. Milan Area Schools recognizes our transportation department. Whereas licensed school bus drivers, school bus monitors, mechanics, and the transportation office staff facilitate the transportation of the majority of the district students safely to and from school each day. Whereas school bus drivers travel each year on regular routes, field trip routes, vocational routes, and special education routes. Whereas the safety and well-being of children is of the utmost concern to all Milan Area Schools transportation staff. Whereas the position of school bus driver requires tremendous responsibility as drivers maneuver through traffic regardless of road conditions while maintaining the conduct of children on the bus. Whereas the transportation staff make critical decisions in the event of an emergency on their bus. Whereas the transportation staff safely direct children while they are entering and exiting the bus. Whereas the transportation staff observe suspicious activity along their bus routes and communicate that information to the proper authorities. Whereas the transportation staff, and especially the mechanics, have achieved 21 consecutive years of 100% pass rate on annual state bus inspections. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Education hereby extends its appreciation to all Milan Area Schools transportation staff, providing a safe ride to and from school, thus supporting the education of our students. Be it further resolved that the Milan Area School Board of Education strongly encourages all members of our community to join with us in personally expressing appreciation to our transportation department for their dedication and devotion to their work. Let's give them a round of applause. And now, we'll have each of you guys introduce yourselves and tell us what role you serve. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just your name and what you do. Thank you.
Tammy Tessier, bus driver.
Jeannie Weber, Transportation Director.
Louis Shea, bus driver. Vicky Spillman, bus driver.
Greg Bozak, bus driver.
Tyler Johnson, bus driver.
Cash, special education driver.
Awesome. Let's give you a round of applause. It really quite is spectacular. I know we always get the reports back of the pass rate, and it's a phenomenal accomplishment. And I know Ms. Baber, she told me that there was other districts that were in trouble because of their inspections, and they have a new inspector. Do you want to talk? You should explain it. You can explain it better than I can.
Well, we have a new inspector. The last one had passed away, so this year we had an interim inspector, and he had never. When he'd come to us, did our inspection. He said that he'd never inspected a district our size and not gave any red tags out. And usually only time he hasn't gave red tags, but about people that have about 3 buses. And we've got the 20. So when he asked me, he said, I've never gave them out. I said, would you like to see our accomplishments? So we, over at the bus garage, we do have it on the walls now, all of our certificates and everything. So if anybody comes in, they can see them. And he was impressed himself. And he said, well, I'm glad I wasn't the one to give you the red tag. But Doug, I will say Doug and everybody worked really hard to not get those. I mean, it's a team effort, you know, and it was a struggle, but we made it. Next year we'll have another new one.
Awesome.
And he's already been by and he's already checked out our facilities and met with Doug and met with me, and he's impressed in Milan area schools transportation department.
All right.
Just
We're
as
impressed too. And I have to say, I was just talking to my kids. Oh gosh. I was just talking to my kids the other day because we were behind a bus, dropping one kid off to go drop the other one off, and they were saying, "How many buses do we buy a year?" And I said, "We buy one a year." And they said, "Do we really need that many?" And we talked about the number of miles that you guys put on these buses every year and how you keep them going. It's amazing to me. But the amazing shape, well, well, the hard work he puts in, he's entitled. So just congratulations to all of you, because it really is quite an accomplishment. We're very proud of you, and we appreciate all of you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You guys are welcome to go home. We're not gonna make you stay for the whole meeting. Thank you for coming, and I will get Jeannie copies of the resolution if any of you want it. We'll get
Thank you for
copies.
the recognition, because
Thank you.
he deserves it, he really does.
You all deserve it,
Thank
sir.
you all.
You keep our children safe.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
We can't teach them if they don't get here.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Next up on our agenda. Oh, I apologize. Yes, I have a motion on the floor. I apologize. I have a motion support to thank the staff of the Milan Area Schools Transportation Department as recorded in attachment A. Ms. Heika.
Heike, yes. Murray,
Yes.
Rosenleacher,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
Freight,
Yes.
Gutierrez.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right. Next up on the agenda is communications and community engagement. A reminder, this meeting and public comments. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public meeting. There are 2 times for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. When addressing the board, you will be asked to state your name. The board determines the amount of time granted to individuals or groups to speak. Each person shall be allowed to speak for up to 3 minutes. Board members may question speakers but are not obligated to answer questions or make statements or commitments in response to issues raised by the public. In general, such items will be referred to the superintendent for advisement, investigation, study, and/or recommendation, or designated as future agenda items for board consideration. Are there any students who'd like to address the board? Are there any public members who'd like to address the board? All right. Next up, routine matters for approval. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of September 13th, 2023.
Motion by Rosenleacher.
Support by Gutierrez.
So moved and supported to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of September 13th, 2023. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Sislo,
Yes, Ms. Murray.
just a heads up that I'll be abstaining from these 2 votes on the minutes for the open and closed session due to absence.
Thank you, Ms. Murray. Others? All right, it's been moved and supported to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of September 13th, 2023. Ms. Heika.
Rosenleacher,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
Freight,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Heike, yes. Motion carries 5-0.
All right, next up, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting closed session of September 13th, 2023.
Moved by Gutierrez.
Support by Rosenleacher.
It's been moved and supported to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the closed session of September 13th, 2023. These are the minutes that are in the envelope. Is any questions or concerns? I'll have you pass those in. All right, it's been moved and supported to approve the minutes of the regular meeting closed session of September 13th, 2023. Ms. Heika?
Rosenleacher,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
Freight,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Heika. Yes, sorry. I guess I should say Murray, so you can officially abstain.
Abstain for both.
Motion carries 5-0. Sorry.
Next up, in the area of learning environment and culture, we have a WISD PAC update from Miss Andrea Bennick. Welcome back to school, and yes.
Right, thank you.
Good evening, and is it on? It's so hard to tell. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to update the board and the community on the WISD Parent Advisory Committee. The 2023-24 school year has started off strongly for PAC and its representatives. Many of us were able to attend beginning of the year programs in our respective districts. Here in Milan, I attended the building open houses, sharing several resources and handouts with families. I'm grateful for the support of the district and building admins in welcoming me into the buildings, providing copies of the handouts, and helping me make connections with new staff. At those open houses, I spoke with families who were interested in PAC and in the resources available to them to help them support their students with special needs. I appreciate our teacher consultants being willing to share the resources with our families on their caseloads, allowing for that flow of information to reach the people who need support and are looking for ways to help their students thrive, not only in Milan area schools, but in our community as well. As PAC chair, I met with the special education administrators at the beginning of the month and shared with them the goals for PAC for the upcoming school year. This year, PAC is looking to continue building the collaborative relationship with each of our districts and the families that our districts serve. We are tasking ourselves with a 3-point objective of listening, gathering, and sharing. PAC representatives are seeking to listen to families, learn where they need support, and learn what is working well for them. We seek to listen to staff and administrators to learn behind-the-scene processes, learn what areas need improvement, and to learn where successes are happening within the district so that we can build upon those to improve our services and our relationships with our students. As we learn, we then work to gather our resources and our support and information to share with our families and staff. This could include training opportunities, continuing education opportunities, extracurricular events, and support resources. Once we gather those resources and that information, PAC representatives will then share that information with their districts, families, and staff. And we're looking to share that information broadly. For us, that means continuing with regular newsletters and flyers to be distributed in our districts, to share updates at board meetings and on social media, attend educational events like literacy nights, transition fairs, open houses, etc. Much of this is already happening here in Milan. I've been in contact with several staff from the WISD who are broadening their reach to families. I met with Joy Taylor and Kelly Higgins, who are supporting the WISD and district families who have students that are preparing to transition out of school-based services. Joy and Kelly are transition supervisors who are connecting with their teacher consultants to help them facilitate our transition IEPs. They are hosting several transition seminars for all families in the WISD, including our local districts. These seminars are providing valuable connections to support services that are available once students have aged out of programs. Joy and Kelly are also encouraging each district to hold a transition information night or a seminar to connect families to local supports. I've shared the flyer with the seminar details to the high school and the young adult program teacher consultants in Milan, and they've passed those on to their families. I also was contacted by Ashley Robinson, an AAC consultant with the WISD. And for those of you who maybe don't know, AAC is an acronym for Augmentative and Alternative Communication. AAC is typically used by people who need additional support for speech or writing. Ashley is hosting a series of AAC family nights throughout the year to provide support and information sharing for students and families who use AAC. And I'll be sharing her flyer with our Milan TCs in the coming months so that they can share that with their families on their caseloads who are utilizing AAC. PAC worked diligently this summer to update the WISD PAC Parent Handbook, including new guidance from the state, sharing fact matter handout links, and updating community resources. This updated version should be available soon on the WISD website. This handbook is full of information about all aspects of special education processes and shares resources from Michigan Alliance for Families, the Michigan Department of Education Office of Special Education, and local supports for people living with disabilities. It's the recommendation of the PAC that a physical copy of the parent handbook be given to all families at their students' initial IEP meeting. This handbook is also referenced on every IEP as an available digital resource. At the PAC meeting last week, an update was given from the WISD on the success of the Para Boot Camp that the WISD hosted over several weeks this summer. I know that that's been in conversation here at board meetings as well. Feedback that was received from attendees included gratitude for having a training program specifically for paraprofessionals. Paras who attended said that they had never had the opportunity to take part in a training tailored to their position. The WISD has stated that the training will be available again next year with the same formatting. One question that PAC had for our administrators at the district level is, will there be a way to measure job performance for those who attended or usefulness of the training in the job setting? I think it would be good to gather feedback at some point during the year from our paras who attended to find out how this opportunity benefited them in the job setting. That feedback, assuming it's positive, could also be a good way to encourage other paras to consider attending for next summer. On the topic of supporting our paraprofessionals, I encourage the district to strongly consider any and all ways possible to give our support staff a significant raise when their contract renewal comes around for the 2024 school year. It would go a long way in showing that the district values these staff members and help them remain in district. This year, I will continue to meet with Lon Smith on a regular basis. And unfortunately, due to a family medical situation, I couldn't meet with him last week as I was planning to. But I look forward to continuing to connect with him to share information and support and resources. Next month, I'll be attending the Art of Advocacy seminar as a panelist to speak about PAC, to speak about supporting families with information and resources, and encourage families to learn how to advocate well for their students' needs. I will be joined by several other panelists who will share their expertise on advocacy. This seminar is taking place on October 25th at 6:30 at the Work and Play Center in Ypsilanti. So if you have a student with an IEP, I highly recommend that you attend. And tickets have to be purchased in advance, and they can be bought at the workandplaycenter.org. So obviously next month I won't be here to give a PAC update since there's a conflict of time. I realized that when Andrew and I were communicating about updates, and I was like, thought I'd have it all together. I don't. But in a few weeks, I'll be compiling a resource flyer with various upcoming opportunities for our students with special needs. And once that's completed, I will share that out with our district TCs for them to disseminate. All of this to say that PAC is really making a strong rebuild, with every district having at least one representative. We're compiling and sharing our resources, we're working to connect with families and staff, and we are striving to support our students with special needs. If anyone in our community is looking for support for their student, I can be reached at email at andreabenninkpacrep@gmail.com. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
So-
Yes, Mrs. Rosenleacher.
When's the next PAC meeting so our community members know when and where that's located?
Thank you. Our PAC meetings are the third Tuesday of every month, so that would be October 17th. And they are from 6:30 to 8 o'clock, and they are held at the WISD TLC Center. That's on Wagner Road up in Ann Arbor. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. Yes, and they are open to the public, and we welcome anybody to attend to learn about what's going on in the WISD, to connect with their PAC reps. There's also time during the meeting for public communication, so if there's concerns or comments about anything going on with your students in your districts, you are welcome to attend, and we can help you troubleshoot those things. Any other questions?
I just want to say thank you for your advocacy and your continued work, continuing to be the chair as well. Is there another Milan representative now or not?
There is
So
not,
are
and
still-
so there is an open position. If anybody is interested in serving on that, you can connect with me, and I can help you get on the right steps to be able to do that. We'd love to have another representative just so that we have more perspective and more information about what's going on in district.
And Mrs. Bennett, do you
Yes.
have to have a student with an IEP to be on the board
You-
as a rep?
Yes, as a
Okay.
representative, you do need to have a student who has a current IEP and live and attend in district.
Perfect.
Not live in district, but attend in district, yes.
Okay.
Well, safe
Okay.
travels for your conference, and we hope it
Thanks.
goes well, and we look forward to the update in November.
All right, thank you.
All right. Next up on the agenda takes us back to public comment. And just a reminder, this meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business. It's not to be considered a public meeting. There are 2 times for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. When addressing the board, you'll be asked to state your name. The board determines the amount of time granted to individuals or groups to speak. Each person shall be allowed to speak for up to 3 minutes. Board members may question speakers but are not obligated to answer questions or make statements or commitments in response to issues raised by the public. In general, such items will be referred to the superintendent for advisement, investigation, study, and/or recommendation, or designated as future agenda items for board consideration. Are there any students who'd like to address the board? Are there any public members who'd like to address the board? All right. With the absence of our student board representative comments, we'll get theirs next week. Obviously homecoming is this week, this Friday, so definitely I'll speak in regards to that for the students. Please come out for the parade on Friday evening, and then obviously the homecoming festivities and game on Friday night, and then the homecoming dance on Saturday. So, Mr. McMahon, Assistant Superintendent comments.
Yep, I just have just a quick assessment update. The NWA fall round of assessments is nearly complete. I think they're just doing a couple makeups yet, so they got that underway really quick, and they're already starting to do interventions. So the buildings are, I wouldn't say ahead of schedule, but they're in a great place. So that's good news compared to previous years. And the middle school will be doing the 8th grade PSAT on Tuesday, so that's new. It's all electronic this year, so that's new. And then the high school will be doing their assessments in a couple weeks, starting the week of the 16th. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. McMahon. Superintendent comments, Mr. Gearbaugh.
Just a couple of comments this evening. One, the start of the homecoming week has been successful here at the high school and truly at all of our buildings who have been enjoying the Spirit Week activities. We invite everyone to attend the parade this Friday at 5:15 p.m. The parade route starts at the old fire barn and ends at the front of Simons Elementary School. The District Communications Committee is meeting monthly. At their first meeting, the committee reviewed the 22-23 school quality survey responses specific to communications. At their next meeting, the committee will be determining the areas of focus for the committee's work for the 23-24 school year. On Tuesday, September 26th at 6 p.m., the Milan Area Schools administrative team hosted a Zoom webinar to present information about reimagining Milan Area Schools 2024, 2025, and beyond. The team shared important information about the future of Milan Area Schools, including the reconfiguration of grade levels. Following the presentation, the team answered questions from the community. A recording of that Zoom webinar, including the Q&A portion, is available and is posted on the district website, milanareaschools.org, in the current topics section. 2 in-person meetings have been scheduled to allow the community to ask additional questions. Prior to each of these in-person meetings, we recommend that participants view the Zoom recording. Details for the 2 in-person question and answer sessions are: there will be one held on Monday, October 23rd at 6 p.m. in the Simons Auditorium, and we ask that the questions and answers there be focused on pre-K through 4th grade. And then on Monday, October 30th at 6 p.m. at the Middle School Librarium, we will be hosting the second Q&A evening, and we ask that the question and answer time during that is focused on 5th through 12th grade. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gearbaugh. Next up is board member comments. Ms. Rosenleach.
I just want to shout out again our transportation department. Sometimes it kind of gets overlooked, the work that they do, but 21 straight years of no red tags is remarkable, to say the least. And then to get all of our students to and from school so safely every single day. You know, bus drivers and transportation has one of the greatest impacts on a school system. They are the first person with the school district they see in the morning and the last one they see at the end of their day. And so they are very, very important people to our students, and we couldn't be more grateful for them. Also, just so you know, I plan on attending the parade on Friday, so if you need a list of people, I'll be there.
Thank you, Ms. Rosenleacher. Others?
Mr. Sisla?
Yes, Ms. Murray.
Hi. I just wanted to apologize for my absence. I caught the first round of school cooties that came home, so I had to not be here. I'm well now, our family's well, but I did watch the meeting via Zoom, and I just wanted to go back and thank our administrative team again. I know it was mentioned at the meeting, but I can't not add my thanks and gratitude to our admin team for all of their hard work in the transition plan for the 24-25 school year. I am so proud of the proactive work that is being done in this district and the way that the whole child is being considered in making this plan for this transition. So I am really excited to see how this district moves forward into the next school year. And yeah, thank you again to the administrative team. You all have my full support as you pursue this work. And then I wanted to thank Ms. Bennick again for your work with PAC. It is so vital. Like, as I get more embedded in my position in the special education department at the WISD, like, I sit 2 cubes down from Joy Taylor, and I see Ashley and Kelly on a regular basis, and they are just treasures and wealths of information for our students with IEPs in our county. And it makes me so happy to know that we have such a tireless parent advocate who is building that bridge and being that voice and that liaison between all of the great things that do happen at the ISD and how they support our students, but you are making sure in a very vital way that that is coming to Milan, and that we and our students are a part of those conversations and have access to those resources. So truly, truly thank you, and I'm so grateful. And then to our paras who participated in the boot camp, thank you. It was really cool. I actually taught a session of the boot camp, which was kind of an interesting crossover between what I do here and what I do there. But it was fantastic to see so many of our Milan paras participating in both of the weeks that were offered this year. And I can't wait to see how our paras continue to engage with that opportunity coming up in the next school year. So I think that's it. But yeah, thank you. And sorry I missed it last week, but I'm just so excited about all the good work that's happening. Thanks. That's all.
Welcome back, and we're glad your family is healthy. Yeah. Others?
Mr. Sislo?
Yes, Ms. Heike.
I want to thank Miss Murray for keeping her cooties at home. I also want to tell Mr. Girabaugh that I told him earlier, but I'll tell the public, I already received good feedback on the Zoom session. So thank you to him and the admin team for putting all of that together in such an important way and clear way. People said that the feedback was, it makes sense. So I think that's going to be very helpful. I also just want to say again, thank you to all of our bus drivers. I agree. They are the first people the kids see and the last people they see. And they play such a vital role in I think what makes our district so unique is that the teachers and the admins and the paras and the bus drivers and the secretaries, they all know the kids. And they know who's related to who, they know who used to be related to who, and they're very good at managing all of that. And I think that that's very important to our students, and it helps them feel like this is home. I know that my kids always appreciated that, although they would have to correct sometimes. No, that's my cousin, not my brother. But, so in this small town that's had many, many generations come through this district, I think that's very important. And I think it recognizes the uniqueness, and we appreciate what they do to participate in that. I also want to thank the family today. Some of you may have noticed there was a flag changing this evening. let me get the time of day right. This evening, there was a family who noticed that our flags needed to be replaced, and they offered to do it. And so they held the normal flag changing ceremony out front. We attended. I showed up a little late, but they took down the flags in ceremony, giving them the reverence that they deserved, and then put new ones up. So I just want to thank them for that. It was a very moving ceremony, and to see young kids treat that flag with such reverence was very moving. It really was. And I wish every kid understood the reverence that should be given to the flag. And so I thank you to that family, thank you to those parents for teaching those kids the right way to do that. Can't even read my own handwriting. Tom gave me his finance update. Since he couldn't be here tonight, he wanted to let everyone know that we're still working on the financial audit, and it's not just yet finalized. That information came from Krista Hendricks. He did want me to put out, and Mr. Gearbaugh, maybe you can provide an update. I don't know if you can do it today or at the next meeting, but he did want to check in on the benchmarking for the MAS positions that aren't covered under the contracts. We had that discussion after we extended or renewed Mr. Hull's contract. So just something to stay on top of. And that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Heike. Others? Ms. Gutierrez?
Yeah, Mr. Sislo. I too would like to send many, many thanks to the Transportation Department. I live right across the street from Paddock, and so I see the buses line up every single morning and every single afternoon, and it's just really endearing to see the great care that those bus drivers provide to our students, our littlest students there at Paddock, and the care they really provide them, and the entire Transportation Department. That's quite remarkable, and I think really quite an honor to be in this district. I hear, and I'm sure many of you have heard, so many stories about the privatization of school transportation and some of the havoc that has caused. And so I'm very grateful that our district has such wonderful staff in the Transportation Department who care so deeply and treat our children like their own. So I appreciate that. I also want to thank Mrs. Bennick very much for her very thorough updates from the PAC as well as her representation there. And I wanted to bring up something that she said as far as a reflection from the paras about their boot camp, and the observation that they felt very grateful for having para-centric, para-specific professional development. And I think that's really an interesting insight and really an important one about the value of that profession needing very tailored types of PD. And it may be something that, as our own district goes through PD strategies and calendars for the coming years, that we may want to think about what we could do here within the district for para-centric training. So thank you for that insight, Mrs. Bennick. That's very helpful. That's all I had. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you. Sure, Mr. Gearbaugh.
Thank you for both of you pointing that out. We actually last year started doing paraprofessional specific training, and Mr. Smith has arranged on November 1st for a full day of PD for our paras. The staff coming from the ISD to continue some of the work that was started at the boot camp. So we already have that on the docket, and then we'll be looking at the other three PD days throughout the year. But we already have November 1st scheduled, and the parapros don't know that yet, so one of them's probably looking at me. That email's going to go out in the next day or two, so she got the advance notice. But yeah, we do. They do have 6 hours planned on November 1st, so we're excited to be able to bring some of the folks down from the ISD and continue that work.
Mr. Sislo.
Yes, Ms. Frey.
I apologize ahead of time. My voice is shot from homecoming was last week for us, so I screamed and yelled a bit too much. And you're right, Mr. Sislo, it always is hard being the last one because you just say, again, ditto. I too am very impressed with the Transportation Department over the years with my kidlets. They've had to deal with not only the railroad track, but the roads out, where that dirt road that they have to go down and over the railroad tracks and through the woods and across the roads. And I've thanked Mr. Gearbaugh a couple of different times for the calls he's made, because in town the roads don't look so bad, but out by us they're pretty shoddy. So I extend gratitude to our transportation, especially our mechanics that keep those buses running, because you're right, Michelle, it's amazing the miles they put on and the conditions they go down, and that they keep us without any flags is phenomenal. So really appreciate that, especially for 21 years. Excited to hear about the para training. Go Margaret, it should be fun. Don't tell anybody now. And I wish our students a very wonderful and exciting homecoming week. I hope we can pull off a win on Friday. And I just, on a semi-personal note, want to wish Avery a happy birthday. It is our student rep's birthday, so that's one of the reasons she's not here tonight. So I hope she has a very good birthday and enjoys that. And thanks, Andrea, again. Goes without saying.
All right. Yeah, with transportation, I guess I'll share a personal story. I sat behind Miss Baber and a bus driver at the opening day ceremony with Mr. Gerba. I should have shared the story when they were here, but she was sitting with somebody named Mrs. Fairchild, and she turned around and she said, "Oh yeah, I remember you. You lived on the corner of Cone and Farr, and you had a sister." And I was like, "Wow, yes, Miss Fairchild, that's where that's it exactly." And that was definitely more than 21 years ago. Yeah, it's a testament to all the staff and the transportation department tonight, because we definitely want to recognize all of our. We enjoy these recognitions. I know it's sometimes difficult after you guys are at school and then to come back. It was great to recognize the new teachers and then the transportation department. So we'll definitely try to get more of those lined up as we go. So other than that, yes, I will say ditto. And on Milan, go Big Reds. Let's cheer for a big victory on Friday. So any other questions? Yeah, Mr. Gearbaugh.
Just one thing to add that a lot of people don't know about our transportation employees. All of them earn probably somewhere between 6 and 8 hours of pay a day. But for a lot of them, their day starts at 5:30 in the morning and it ends at 5:30 in the afternoon. It's one of those rare positions where they work a split shift. And so it's just another part of that job that a lot of people don't know about, that their workday is really 12 hours long, even though none of them make 12 hours of pay. And that's a rare situation for anybody to have to work that. And so we just thank them so much for their efforts. Some of the buses do roll out at 5:30 in the morning, and they're getting back in the barn at 5:30 at night. And so I cannot thank our drivers enough. And I think the sentiment that you've shown is so true. It's that they know our kids. Over the years that I've been here, they make them banana bread. They bring them donuts. There was one driver that knit every kindergartner a winter hat every year. I mean, it just goes on and on, the things that our drivers do for the kids. And I think that's pretty rare. And they step up, they sub, they fill in, they do whatever. Knock on wood, we have yet to date not had to cancel a transportation route for school through the shortages that other districts are dealing with. And there are districts in our county that are canceling routes weekly. So kudos to our staff. And that includes our mechanics and our transportation director who go out on the road and drive the buses. And our retired transportation director who comes back and still drives bus all the time for us. So it just shows the dedication of those staff, and I just can't thank them enough.
Well stated. Next up, in other old new business, I need a motion to appoint Attorney Rob Dietzel of the Troon Law Firm PC to serve as the board's hearing officer for a student disciplinary hearing.
Moved by Heike.
It's been moved and supported to appoint Attorney Rob.
We need
Oh, I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself. Is there a second?
Support by Rosenleacher.
Wow, I'm sorry.
You're in a hurry.
He would have slapped my hand for not following.
Broke protocol in hiring.
I apologize. Okay, now it has been moved and supported to appoint Attorney Rob Dietzel of the Troon Law Firm PC to serve as the board's hearing officer for the student disciplinary hearing. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, it's been moved and supported to appoint Attorney Rob Dietzel of the Troon Law Firm PC to serve as the board's hearing officer for the student disciplinary hearing. Ms. Heike?
Sislo,
Yes.
Freight,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Heike, yes. Murray,
Yes.
Rosenleacher.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right, next up, I need a motion to enter into closed session pursuant to Section 81B of the Michigan Open Meetings Act and upon the request of the student's parents, guardians, for the purpose of conducting a hearing to consider the discipline of a student whose identity is known to the board as student 2023-2024-1.
Moved by Heike.
Support by Murray.
It's been moved and supported to enter into closed session pursuant to Section 81B of the Michigan Open Meetings Act and upon request of the student's parents, guardians, for the purpose of conducting a hearing to consider the discipline of a student whose identity is known to the board as student 2023-2024-1. Just so everyone is aware, we will come back into open session to vote on the student discipline, and then we will return into closed session for a student reinstatement hearing, and then return out of closed session to make the decision on the student reinstatement hearing. There is no other business before the board. Folks are welcome to stay, but there will be no other votes passed other than those when we come out of closed session. Any other discussion? All right, it's been moved and supported to enter into closed session pursuant to Section 81B of the Michigan Open Meetings Act and upon request of the student's parents, guardians, for the purpose of conducting a hearing to consider the discipline of a student whose identity is known to the board as student 2023-2024-1. Ms. Heike.
Freight,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Heike, yes. Murray,
Yes.
Rosenleacher,
Yes.
Sislo.
Yes,
Motion carries 6-0.
we will enter into closed session at 7:41. Thank you for everyone attending this evening. Drive home safely. There you go.
Mr. President, I have a resolution that I'd like to offer for board consideration.
Yes, would you read that, Mr. Detail?
I will. So I'm going to read a resolution for the board to consider. This is not a decision that's made until the board considers that resolution, moves to adopt it, seconds it, and actually votes to adopt it. This resolution is open to discussion, but I believe it reflects the consensus approach that we discussed in closed session. That resolution reads
Hold on,
as-
I'm sorry, my microphone wasn't on, so I just wanted, we returned to open session at 9:33, so,
Very good.
okay.
That resolution reads, the administration has recommended that a student whose identity is known to the board as student 23-24-1 be expelled for making a threat similar to a bomb threat. School administrators notify the student's parents and guardians of the specific charge underlying the discipline recommendation, as well as the date, time, and place of the disciplinary hearing. Pursuant to the request of the student's parents and as authorized by Michigan Open Meetings Act Section 8(1)B, the disciplinary hearing was conducted in a closed session meeting of the board. The hearing afforded the student and the student's representatives an opportunity to respond to the charge and to present pertinent evidence for the board's consideration. The board has carefully considered all of the evidence produced in this student discipline hearing. Now therefore be it resolved that a preponderance of the evidence establishes that on April 19th, 2023, the student made a threat similar to a bomb threat on school property. Based on careful consideration of all of the following factors, the board determines that expulsion is warranted. Those factors include the student's age, discipline history, whether the student has a disability, the seriousness of the behavior, whether the behavior posed a safety risk, whether restorative practices are a better option, and whether lesser interventions would address the behavior. The student is expelled from the district at least through the remainder of the 23-24 school year and until reinstated by the board. During the time of the expulsion, the student may not be on school grounds or attend any functions at the district without prior written approval from an appropriate administrator. In addition to expulsion, the student must complete a restorative practice exercise as determined by the building principal upon reinstatement to repair harm to other students and the school environment. The student's failure to complete the restorative practice exercise may result in further disciplinary consequences. The student may petition the board for reinstatement no sooner than July 1, 2024, for reinstatement no sooner than the start of the 24-25 school year. Before reinstatement, the student must demonstrate successful participation in an appropriate counseling program approved by the superintendent, establish that the student has not engaged in conduct during the period of expulsion that may be viewed by the board as detrimental to the student's continued education at the district, demonstrate to the satisfaction of the board that the student received educational instruction and cooperatively participated in an educational program during the period of expulsion, which may include an online or virtual educational program offered by the district, and agree to follow a reentry safety plan as determined by the superintendent and building principal that includes, at a minimum, permission to search the student's possessions or person at any time, continued school-based counseling, continued out-of-school counseling, and mandatory daily check-ins with a trusted adult. The student's parents must also agree to the terms of the reentry safety plan. Failure to satisfy these conditions will result in continuation of the student's expulsion. Consistent with revised school code sections 11A and 1311(1), the board finds that the interests of the district are served by this resolution. Administrators are directed and authorized to implement all terms of this resolution and are delegated all necessary authority to do so. All resolutions that conflict with this resolution are hereby rescinded.
I need a motion to expel student 2023-2024-1 in accordance with the resolution as read by Robert Dietzel.
Moved by Heike.
Support by Rosenleacher.
It's been moved and supported to expel student 2023-2024-1 in accordance with the resolution as read by Robert Dietzel. Is there any discussion? All right, it's been moved and supported to expel student 2023-2024-1 in accordance with the resolution as read by Robert Dietzel. Ms. Heike.
Freight,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Heike, yes. Murray,
Yes.
Rosenleacher,
Yes.
Sislo.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right, Mr. Gearbaugh will be in contact with the family in regards to the resolution. Now I need a motion to enter into closed session pursuant to section 8(1)B of the Michigan Open Meetings Act and upon request of the student's parents, guardians, for the purpose of conducting a hearing to consider the reinstatement of a student whose identity is known to the board as student 2021-2022-2.
Moved by Heike.
Support by Gutierrez.
So moved and supported to enter into closed session pursuant to Section 81B of the Michigan Open Meetings Act and upon request of the students' parents, guardians, for the purpose of conducting a hearing to consider the reinstatement of a student whose identity is known to the board as student 21-2022-2. Any discussion? Hearing none, it's been moved and supported to go into closed session to consider this reinstatement. Ms. Heika?
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Heika, yes. Murray,
Yes.
Rosenleacher,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
Freight.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right, we are going into closed session at 9:39. All right, we're returning to open session at 11:18. I will offer the following resolution. Whereas on February 23rd, 2022, the board expelled a student whose identity is known to the board as 2021-2022-2, the student for possessing a dangerous weapon at school in violation of board policy 5610 and MCL 380.1311. On September 5th, 2023, pursuant to the revised school code, the district received a petition for the student's reinstatement. 3, pursuant to the revised school code and board policy, a committee to review the reinstatement petition was created. The committee was comprised of 2 board members, 1 school administrator, 1 school staff member, and 1 parent. 4, the committee considered the reinstatement petition and information provided to it by the student's family and by the superintendent. Following its review, the committee made a recommendation to the board. The committee's recommendation was based on the consideration of each of the 7 factors identified in sections 1311A5E of the revised school code. Number 6, at the request of the student's parent, guardian, and is authorized by the Michigan Open Meetings Act, Section 81B and 81H, MCL 15.268(1)B, the reinstatement hearing was conducted in a closed session meeting of the board. The board thoroughly reviewed and deliberated upon the committee's recommendation and independently reviewed and deliberated upon all the information provided to the committee and to the board. Now therefore be it resolved that based upon the consideration of the 7 factors identified in section 1311A5E of the revised school code, the student's petition for reinstatement is denied. The student may petition the board again for reinstatement no sooner than December 1st, 2023, for reinstatement no sooner than the first day of the second semester of the 2023-24 school year. Before reinstatement, the student must establish that the student has not engaged in conduct during the period of expulsion that may be viewed by the board as detrimental to the student's continued education at the district, demonstrate to the satisfaction of the board that the student received educational instruction, cooperatively participated in an educational program during the period of expulsion, which may include an online or virtual education program offered by the district, and agree to follow a reentry safety plan as determined by the superintendent and building principal that includes, at a minimum, permission to search the student possessions or person at any time, continued school-based counseling, mandatory daily check-ins with a trusted adult. The student parents, guardians must also agree to the terms of the reentry safety plan. Number 2, during the time of the expulsion, the student may attend school activities outside of the normal school day hours. If any behavior issues arise, the administration has the authority to remove this privilege. Number 3, the student may attend the Washtenaw Alliance for Virtual Education WAVE program through Milan area schools during the time of expulsion. 4, consistent with Section 11A and 13111 of the revised school code, the board finds that the school's interests and mission are served by this resolution. Number 5, the administration is directed and authorized to implement all terms of this resolution and is delegated all necessary authority to do so. And finally, number 6, all resolutions or parts of resolutions that conflict with the provisions of this resolution are rescinded. I need a motion to deny reinstatement for student 2021-2022-2 in accordance with the resolution as read by myself.
Moved by Heike.
Support by Rosenleacher.
It's been moved and supported to deny reinstatement for student 2021-2022-2 in accordance with the resolution I just read. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, it's been moved and supported to deny reinstatement for the student 2021-2022-2 in accordance with the attached resolution as read by myself. Ms. Heike.
Heike, yes. Murray?
Yes.
Rosenleacher?
Yes.
Sislo?
Yes.
Freight?
Yes.
Gutierrez?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right, meeting is adjourned at 11:22.